Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a completely fascinating, highly alternative dive into human history, ancient mysteries, and really, the very nature of our reality. We're going to explore a super provocative theory laid out in our source material, which is an extensive interview with holistic healer Amani El-Masri. Now, this source presents a radically different narrative about where we come from, who shaped our ancient past, and how unseen forces might literally still be pulling the strings today. As we walk through these concepts, we're going to impartially lay out the claims exactly as the source presents them so you can examine this captivating framework for yourself. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. What if I told you our human timeline might have been hijacked? The source immediately hits us with a massive paradigm shift. The core theory here is that humanity didn't just slowly, naturally evolve through an uninterrupted process of natural selection. Instead, the claim is that our genetic timeline was fundamentally altered, hacked, essentially, by ancient, otherworldly entities who touched down on Earth millions of years ago.
Section 1. Human Origins and the Anunnaki.
Think about the standard archaeological timeline for a second. The source interprets it, well, quite differently. We see the first hominids pop up around 7 million years ago, right? Then Homo habilis using tools around 2.4 million years ago. And finally, Homo sapiens suddenly jumping onto the scene around 300,000 years ago. According to the guest in our source material, these sudden evolutionary leaps, they weren't natural. The theory strongly suggests these jumps were the direct result of advanced genetic engineering by ancient visitors who were actively playing around with hominid DNA.
So who exactly were these mysterious visitors? The source points straight to the Anunnaki, described in ancient Sumerian and Akkadian texts as those who came from the sky. The theory posits that these guys weren't just mythological gods, but actually a group of highly advanced extraterrestrial races. The really crucial point here is that they didn't create humanity from scratch. Instead, they found early hominids already wandering around and allegedly mixed their own advanced genetics with ours. Why? Well, according to the source, they needed a labor force that could survive harsh conditions. And to keep this brand new workforce manageable, the Anunnaki intentionally reduced our natural lifespans. They literally capped it at around 120 years, so we wouldn't have the time to fully evolve, figure things out, and challenge them.
But wait, the Anunnaki weren't flying solo here. The source details a really complex hierarchy of other entities. First, you have the Agiji, tall, winged, bird-like beings. They were originally the laborers, but actually rebelled against the brutal conditions, which is supposedly what prompted the creation of human workers in the first place. Then you have the reptilians, described as entities where certain factions seek total dominance and literally feed off human energy. Finally, there are the Greys, engineered watchers who actually lack reproductive organs, supposedly left behind just to monitor humanity's progress. The source claims these various species interbred with early humans, leaving us with this crazy patchwork of genetics that modern science currently just labels as junk DNA.
Moving on to Section 2. God's Conflict, Sumer versus Egypt. So, within the Anunnaki ranks, the source highlights this massive, epic philosophical divide between two high-ranking brothers. On one side, we have Enki, the god of wisdom and water. He's said to have loved humanity. He saw our potential and really wanted us to evolve. On the totally opposite side is Enlil, the god of authority and wind. Enlil basically found humanity noisy, bothersome, and super dangerous if we were allowed to grow too smart. This intense conflict culminated in a devastating decision. Enlil initiated a great flood to wipe humanity out completely, while Enki used his cunning to secretly warn a select few, ensuring we actually survived.
And here's where it gets incredibly fascinating. The guest points out a brilliant contrast between ancient mythologies stemming from this exact philosophical divide. In Sumerian texts, the narrative is entirely external, right? The world is born from conflict and humans are explicitly created from the blood of a rebel god just to serve as slaves. But look at Egyptian mythology. The creation story is internal. The universe and the gods, known as the Neteru, emerged from within the primordial waters. In the Egyptian view, humans aren't separate, lowly servants at all. We're a vital, integral part of the divine balance, meant to master our own consciousness. It's a totally different vibe.
All right, Section 3. Atlantis and Lost Technology.
According to this alternative history from the source, we have completely, utterly misunderstood ancient structures. The source emphatically claims that the pyramids in Egypt were absolutely never designed as tombs. No way. Instead, they were massive, highly sophisticated power stations. By utilizing underground water flows, their original white limestone casings, and the surrounding ether, these structures allegedly generated and distributed clean, limitless energy across the entire globe.
And the tech allegedly running this global grid, it literally sounds like straight-up science fiction. The source details the use of advanced sound frequencies, lasers, and anti-gravity technology, all heavily reliant on 7 immensely powerful ancient crystals. But as the story goes, this golden age didn't last. The theory states that Atlantis was destroyed in a catastrophic cosmic nuclear war. The guest even points to inexplicably melted stone stairs at the Temple of Dendera as physical evidence of ancient nuclear heat. Following this immense collapse, survivors like Thoth supposedly fled to Egypt, bringing fragments of this crystal and sound technology with them to kickstart the Egyptian civilization.
Section 4. The Control System and Energy Harvesting.
Now we reach a particularly chilling concept outlined in the interview: energy harvesting. The theory proposes that certain factions, particularly the reptilians we mentioned earlier, literally feed on human emotions. But it's not just any emotions. They thrive on low-frequency negative energies. We're talking fear, anger, and division. To maintain their power and control, they allegedly need humanity to remain in a constant, perpetual state of anxiety. It's their food source.
So how exactly do they keep us stressed out today? The source outlines a sprawling modern control system. It claims that constant media programming, the endless movies about zombies, global wars, and hostile AI, is intentionally designed to program our subconscious with fear. The theory goes even further, alleging that modern diseases are engineered in labs to keep us vulnerable. It even reframes modern science. The source suggests a certain particle collider is actually being used to open stargates to other dimensions, and get this, that the moon itself isn't a natural satellite, but a hollow observation base used by the Watchers. Wild, right? But that is the claim.
Finally, Section 5. Reclaiming Power and Awakening. Remember that junk DNA we talked about earlier? Well, according to the guest, Enki and his allies intentionally hid dormant, incredible abilities inside our genetic code. We are absolutely not helpless. Our true power resides right within us, just waiting to be activated. But here's the catch. It can't be unlocked by waiting for some external savior to swoop in. It's activated by mastering our own internal state, by intentionally changing our emotional frequency, flat out refusing to live in fear, and stopping the endless search for answers outside of ourselves. And this brilliantly illustrates the practical steps to take that control back. The guest actually shared a very specific breathing technique designed to close your aura and protect your energy from being harvested. It's pretty simple. Step 1, take a deep breath from your stomach. Step 2, form a triangle with your hands and place them right over your heart. Step 3, hold that breath for 4 seconds. And Step 4, exhale slowly while firmly setting the mental intention to close and block your energy field. It's all about reclaiming your personal power.
There's a quote from the interview that absolutely nails the core message here. Change what is within yourself. I change my thoughts, I change my feelings. The whole subject is internal. That is the secret. By fixing your internal state, you actively change your external reality. By choosing peace over fear, you essentially starve this negative control system of its fuel. You step out of the game as a pawn, and you become the player.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. The theory we've explored today suggests that we are incredibly powerful beings, walking around with dormant, ancient codes inside of us, navigating a world literally designed to distract us from our own potential. Whether you view this as literal hidden history or a really profound metaphorical framework, the main takeaway is exactly the same. Your attention is your most valuable asset. So if your reality is truly shaped by where you focus your energy, what reality will you choose to create tomorrow? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.